independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's The Chad Benson Show.
It was a bizarre scene in the Oval Office. President Trump sitting at the Resolute desk. Seated across from him, rap artist Kanye West, wearing a red Make America Great Again hat.
There was something about when I put this hat on, it made me feel like Superman. You made a Superman. That's my favorite superhero. Stop and frisk does not help the relationship.
We can do it a different way, Kanye. I'm totally open.
We have to release the love. The liberal would try to control a black person through the concept of racism. I love this guy right here. If he don't look good, we don't look good. He might not have expected to have a crazy mother like Kanye West.
Tell you what, that was pretty impressive.
I love this guy right here.
That's really nice. That's really nice. And that's from the heart. I didn't want to put you in that position, but that's from the heart. Special guy.
Wow. So that was yesterday, right? Like, that was insanity. It was surreal. It was crazy. I think Kanye, what's being Kanye, right? Like, he's just being himself, right? He doesn't know anything. It was so funny when I talked to so many people yesterday about it, because this was a big thing. I mean, here's Kanye West, right, with Jim Brown, the ex-great former football player, who's in the, sitting in there, and he's holding court. Kanye is holding court. And he's just doing all kinds of things, and he's got his phone, and he's hugging the president, and there's just throngs of reporters, and it was just insane. Yet at the same time, as I said, look, maybe he's out there a bit. Yeah, that is what it is. I mean, he is out there. I think we all know that. I mean, name an artist that really isn't out there. Right? Name an artist that's really like an artist like him, who so many of them are. I've hung out with enough famous people. And producer Phil, I think you'll back me up on this. You've hung out with enough people. You've met enough people where you think to yourself, sweet Jiminy Cricket, what world do you live in?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, not crazy. They're all a bit crazy. But it was funny because the left views him now as crazy. When Katrina happened, and we all go back to that moment where he's on stage with poor Mike Myers, right? And he's giving out some award or something, and Kanye just like, George W. Bush hates black people. And the left was just, yes! He comes out and he says, essentially, I like Trump. I get along with Trump. And they have these moments, and it's bizarre at times, but it's very real. And the craziness of the way that the left treats him now is the fact that they believe he's nuts.
I have no animosity for Kanye West. I actually feel bad for him. What I saw was a minstrel show today. Him in front of all of these white people, mostly white people, embarrassing himself and embarrassing Americans, but mostly African Americans.
Why? Why? Because he doesn't think like you? Because he's not part of this, hey, I've got to be on the left side of the aisle because that's the color of my skin and that's what it dictates? But no, he didn't stop there. It wasn't just a minstrel show. Oh, no.
I don't mean this in a disparaging way. Exploiting someone who needs help, who needs to back away from the cameras, who needs to get off stage, who needs to deal with his issues. And if anyone around him...
I'm going to back it up again. He needs to deal with his issues. So he's mentally disturbed because he's black. He doesn't think like you, Don Lemon. He's mentally insane. Is that what you're saying? Because he thinks that Trump is okay because he is loud and outspoken. Hey, anybody think that, I don't know, the Beatles and some of the crazy stuff they did, right? Anybody think they were insane? Jim Morrison, well, yeah, they were a bit. No, they're artists. They're a bit out there. But just because he may be a bit, eccentric and aloof, and I think he does have some issues that I think a lot of people do, they have to deal with, doesn't mean the things that he was saying was wrong. But the way that they've gone about it now to discredit him, and this is the thing the left likes to do. Both sides do it, but the left loves to. You're mentally insane. If I don't like you and I can't compete with you in maybe having a dialogue or a conversation, whether there's facts and data involved or something else, I'm going to discredit you by calling you a phobic, a denier, or better yet, you're insane.
Off stage, who needs to deal with his issues. And if anyone around him cares about him, the family that he mentioned today, or whomever, his managers, maybe some other people who are in the music business who know him, They need to grab him and snatch him up and get Kanye together because Kanye needs help.
No, he doesn't need help. He doesn't. He doesn't need help any more than anybody else. I don't think Kanye is crazy in the sense where he needs to go to a hospital, right? Do I think he thinks some stuff that's insane and wacky? Absolutely, right? I do. But here's something. Elon Musk, a couple weeks ago, right, he's on with Joe Rogan, and he's saying crazy stuff, and he's having fun, and he's smoking weed, and he's doing all this stuff, and people are like, you know, the investors are worried about him and his behavior, and that's a bit erratic and stuff because you don't see CEOs do those kind of things, and some people are like, we're worried about him because he works 22 hours a day, and he'll sleep under people's desk, and he's working hard. But you know what they never said? Well, he's insane, and he needs to go to a mental hospital. But Kanye is. Why? Because there's politics involved. And the politics of the left is you gotta hate Trump. Period. Case closed. And if your skin is black, and you don't back the left, oh my God, sweet mamma jamma, you're gonna be in trouble. You're gonna be in trouble. And part of this is Trump's fault.
Every one of them is sitting either at home or with their phones watching this, cringing. I couldn't even watch it. I had to turn the television off because it was so hard to watch. Him sitting there being used by the President of the United States. The President of the United States exploiting him.
So Trump's exploiting him because he's mental and he's using him, and Kanye's crazy. That's the left. That's the way they're going to do this. Right, that's it. And I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm talking about the left, the out of touch with reality left side of the aisle. That's the only thing they have. That is absolutely the thing they have. He's nuts. He's crazy. He's a lunatic. He's all of these things. That's exactly what he has. Look, do I think Kanye's up on things and he's super educated on stuff? I don't know Kanye well enough, though. I don't know if he's well read. I doubt he is well read. Just because Kanye's doing 1,000 million things, and plus he's living with the Kardashians, and cut him some slack for the love of God. Please. He's a Kardashian. Look what they did with the last person. Somebody's so going to send me hate mail for that one.
We need to take the cameras away from Kanye and from a lot of this craziness that happens in the White House because it is not normal, and we need to stop sitting here pretending that it's normal. This was an embarrassment. Kanye's mother is rolling over in her grave.
Is she? Is she really rolling over in her grave? Is she really, really rolling over? Is she? I'm just curious. Is that what's happening? I don't think so. But this is what happens. He's mental. It's the only thing. The only people that like Trump are white racists and people of color who happen to be insane. That's it. No sane person would like Trump. No sane African American. No sane person of color. No sane woman would like. No. Only people that can like Trump are white racists and self-loathing African Americans and people of color and women who hate themselves. That's it.
Put the hat on, and the hat made me feel strong, and wearing a cape. He needs a father figure. He needs someone to help him and to guide him, and he needs a hug more than anything. Kanye, back away from the cameras, go get some help, and then come back and make your case. If you want to be conservative, if you want to support Donald Trump, that is your business. But as you're doing it, have some sense with it. Make sense. Educate yourself.
Yeah. You just step back and you say to yourself, that is just a bunch of absolute crap. And the thing that made me laugh so much about this, right? The thing that makes me laugh so much about this when you watch this is if this was Obama and Kanye was there, people would be laughing their asses off, right? Like they go, oh, Kanye's a bit out there, but still. But because it's Trump, he's exploiting him. He's mentally ill. President Barack Obama did all kinds of things and talked to all kinds. He did an interview with a woman who does a YouTube show, if I'm correct, from a bathtub that is full of milk and cereal. If I'm correct, I think he did. Really? And we're celebrating. He's not mentally ill. And the fact that you would say that he needs a father figure, for the love of God. That is insane. It really, really is. Laura Ingraham fired back last night, and it was interesting. And she should have. Look, I don't know what people are scared of. People are saying, well, what about the right with Taylor Swift? I don't think the right really cares, right? I don't think anybody. I mean, Marsha Blackburn's probably going to win that thing. The person she supports is not going to win. And everybody's like, well, Chad, you said stuff about Taylor Swift. I said, no. Once again, things I say, things you hear. I said, if you need Taylor Swift to get you to vote, that's the issue I have. I don't care about who it was, right? If that's what you need to get you out there to vote, like, I'm not going to vote, and then I'll have Taylor Swift tell me to vote, so I'm going to vote. This is totally different. This was, well, he's lost now. He's an idiot. He's insane.
Just because he dares to think for himself, think differently, in his outspoken, over-the-top manner, he's pilloried by the politically correct performers in politics, in journalism, and, of course, in the entertainment industry. He represents a danger to the left because of his huge cultural influence. And moments like this are absolutely intolerable and frightening to liberals.
Yeah, that's Laura Ingraham. I don't always agree with a lot of what she had to say, but I got to be honest with you. It's the way it was the reaction. Do I think it's over the top? Of course it is. Kanye's over the top, for God's sakes. He's married to a Kardashian. Waking up in the morning is a production. Right? Let's be real. In saying that, the way that they attack him is, you're nuts. You're crazy. You're a lunatic. You're a minstrel. You're being used. You need help, and you have a daddy issue that you have to sort out. That right there was the absolute most asinine thing I've heard people say. And Don Lemon, well, you're in the clubhouse as the leader of the asinine things of the day. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
I know people like to speculate, and media like to speculate about our marriage and circulate the gossip. But I understand the gossip sells newspapers, magazines, getting advertisers. And unfortunately, we live in this kind of world today.
Zsa Zsa Gabor right there talking about her husband, Donald Trump. Oh, wait, sorry, Melania Trump. Did I say Zsa Zsa? Chad, you're a jerk. You're just totally disparaged. It's very interesting. She's got this interview tonight, and it is what I find to be interesting about this is the way that she's handling this, which is, hey, I'll talk about anything. I'm not going to hide behind anything. You can ask me any question you want to ask me. It's okay. I'm open to any question. There is no because a lot of times, whether it's politicians, a lot of other, stars and celebrities that you interview, what they'll tell you is this is a list of questions that you can't talk about. Can't ask this. Don't go here. Don't even think about doing this. We will talk about these things and these things only. Otherwise, no go. Melania is in that position where she can say, hey, I don't want to talk about that. And in the end, she is like, no, I'll talk about anything.
It is not concern and focus of mine. I'm a mother and a first lady, and I have much more important things to think about and to do.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a very cool thing that she's willing to go out there and do something like that and talk about it. And so it'll be very interesting to see how the world handles it, because the world's been hammering her for the things that she wears. Listen to this. I want you guys to listen to this. So this is The View, right? So you've got these ladies here who are on The View, and they're talking about her outfit. This is the kind of thing. Remember what she said? She said she's one of the most bullied people in the world, and everybody's like, oh, but listen to what these women are talking about when they're talking about an outfit, in particular, a hat.
Can we talk about this gigantic white pith helmet sitting in the shot? And it's really not a good thing to see, because it represents a lot of stuff for folks, especially folks in Africa.
So I brought this up because there's many different elements to this. Number one, this was her first solo trip, and she said, concentrate on what I say, not what I wear. But the problem is when you're wearing things like this, which is very charged because it's a symbol of British colonialism, I just don't understand the fashion choices.
Well, that's it. She's wearing a pip hat. The pip hat's what you see in a lot of those old movies when guys are out hunting. Look at me. Here I am. And it's colonialism. It's all of these things. It is such a reach that they're sitting around talking about this. First of all, that's privilege, right? Like, white privilege, this privilege, that privilege. That's insane. Secondly, I don't think she was thinking about, hey, you know what? If I put this on, this shows power, and it shows that I own these people.
Is Americans globally
what the real true problem here is when you don't do any homework about where you're going. You know, when you think about some of the things that have been said about Africa, because, basically a pith helmet says we own you.
Oh, is that what it says? I think what they're really saying is, hey, she looks like she's in a polo shoot. Because that's what it looks like, right? Like one of those, like weird commercials that you would see Johnny Depp in and a beautiful woman. And then Johnny Depp's like, he's got his arm around a tiger. And there's a woman off in the silhouette. And she's got the hat on and like a tie. And she's got her jacket over it. And she's got, this look. And it's in the silhouette. And the sun's going down. And he's like, stinky. It's what I wear. Or whatever. That's what it looks like. I don't think she's putting the helmet on and going, you know what? This is really, this is going to make everybody uncomfortable. I like it. It's going to make everybody know that I own them. I don't think that was it. I think she's like, hey, this looks like something good to wear. This is what it looks like. This is what happens when people sit around all day and think about things to talk about. And they're stewing on her. When she said she's some of the most bullied people in the world, people are like, oh, that's a bunch of crap. Look at the privilege and the life you lead. Yeah, she does. Doesn't mean that people online, people like this don't take shots at her every day. I never did for Michelle Obama and the kids. I never once said anything. In fact, one time, a lot of people pissed off at me because I went off on a few of the Middle Eastern folk, if you will, when they had some harsh words to say about my first lady at the time, who was Michelle Obama, and I was not happy about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of the Middle East, what is going on with this journalist? Why is he so important? Where is he? We're going to touch bases on that, and it is a very interesting story, to say the least. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thought and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Nobody knows quite yet. Nobody's been able to put it all together. People are starting to form ideas, and as they're formed, we'll let you know. But it certainly is a terrible thing.
Yes, it is. And this thing is growing, and it is weird. And it is threatening to put a kibosh on a huge $110 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia. His name is Jamal Ahmed Khashoggi. He is maybe, some people say he is the most influential and powerful voice in politics in the Middle East, has some 2 million Twitter followers, and he has disappeared. He went into the consulate, the Saudi consulate in Turkey, and from there it just got weird to the point where everybody's starting to say, what happened to him? Some of the stuff they're saying, this is some of the stuff they're saying, is a lot of men and a bone saw. Yeah.
This morning, the Washington Post is reporting Turkish officials claim to have video showing a Saudi security team detaining Khashoggi in the consulate. You can hear his voice and the voices of men speaking Arabic, an unidentified individual told the Post. You can hear how he was interrogated, tortured, and then murdered. The Saudis have fiercely denied any involvement, saying Khashoggi left the consulate and went missing.
So what ends up happening is this guy apparently is trying to get a marriage license, and he goes into the Saudi consulate. 15 plus guys show up.
Turkish media releasing surveillance video they say shows 15 Saudi nationals entering the compound on the same day, a possible hit squad, according to Turkish reports. President Trump, now taking a critical tone, said U.S. investigators are in Turkey and working with the Saudis to find out what happened.
How real are they looking into this? Trump has said just a little while ago.
I will be calling at some point King Solomon.
So what is he going to do? I don't know. It says he's going to call him, going to talk to him about what? Why is this guy so powerful? What about him? Well, first of all, he worked for what many perceive to be the most liberal of progressive Saudi newspapers, Al Watan, and that's one of them. He was in exile for a while on his own because he was worried about certain issues that were going on and threats that he had. He comes from an extremely powerful family, a wealthy family. His if I'm correct, I believe his uncle was part of the Adnan Khashoggi was part of the Iran-Contra deal. Their family's worth billions of dollars. Cousin was Dodi Fayed. He was dating Princess Diana when they were killed. He was educated here at Indiana State University. And this is just a very interesting thing. And there is apparently some of the interrogation was transmitted via his Apple Watch. And Bonesaw is what people are saying was involved. Think about that. How real some of this is or isn't, I don't know. But I will tell you this. There is a big deal coming out here with the fact that there is a lot of money involved with about $100+ billion pouring into our country for arms and things like that. Saudi Arabia is better the devil you do in a lot of ways. They're friendly-ish to us, but not to. They hate Iran, which makes us like them a little bit more. They had oil. They bought our stuff. It is a weird thing that goes on there. Remember, this is, and people say, well, we can't not do this. We have to do this deal. People are texting me, and I'm saying, no. I think we look at this. I understand what Trump's trying to say. He doesn't want to kill this deal because, A, it's a lot of money pouring into us. It's a lot of jobs, that $100 billion that people are going to be depending on. In saying that, though, this is a journalist who had power. And if I'm Trump, I look at this seriously, really seriously. What influence? What was he working on? What was happening that you would send potentially 15 men to take him out? 15. And by the way, Trump may really want this deal, but I will tell you this. Congress has a say on this, and they're not thrilled. And if anything's going to unite them for all of the stuff that's happening in our country, it may be this thing.
Look, I think it's important, to know what happened. We've read the same clues everybody else has. Obviously, I'm privy to some additional information which I cannot share. We need to know what happened. But ultimately, let me just say this, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but we're going to learn it soon enough. If the Saudi government ordered a guy to be abducted, they killed him, they chopped him up, they sent a bunch of people in to kill him and chop him up, and then they left. If that's what happened, I'm telling you, what's going to happen here on Capitol Hill is a complete revolt against our policies with Saudi Arabia.
Think about that. And they could override this. It's a very, and again, the relationship we have with them. Look at 9/11. Look at several of the other issues that have gone on. Wahhabism, all of these kind of things. It is it's one of those things where they hate it. They hate Iran. That's huge. They do. They're mortal enemies, and that is a big issue. So we walk a weird fine line in that. For years, the oil, all of that stuff, it is a very fine issue we walk. But that $110 billion, and a lot of people are looking at what is taking place and this kind of bizarre, weird fight revolution that is going on in what is trying to become a more modern Saudi Arabia with a younger king who is forward-looking. Women may be able to get drive, and yes, well, they're getting licensed, but there may be some more progressive things. But then you've got a very hardline religious sect that doesn't want to move any more forward than the 6th century that they're living in. So you've got all this weird things. And this guy is Jamal Khashoggi is a very interesting character. Like I say, he befriended Osama bin Laden in the 80s and into the early 90s, and when he was fighting the Soviets, and at times he was even trying to broker a deal of peace between Saudi Arabia and bin Laden. He disavowed him after 2001 and 9/11. He just said he would never have anything to do with him, but he begged him to step away from all of this stuff. This guy has had a lot of influence there, and the influence he has in giving people the opportunity to have a voice, even if they don't say it so much out loud, but to him and through him, was huge. And now we're in a situation where, people are looking around going, what is going to happen with this? And what's going to happen with this relationship with us in Saudi Arabia?
It's unfortunate because they are an important partner in our Middle Eastern strategy to contain sort of Iran's nefarious influence in the region. But if they have gone as far as to lure this guy into this consulate, kill him, cut his body up, and sent a crew here to do that, and then they left, if they're responsible for that, and I'm not saying they are, we're going to find out when the evidence is presented. But if that's what happened, then I'm telling you what's going to happen here on Capitol Hill is an effort to completely, fundamentally alter the relationship between the United States and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that might actually happen. And what did it take? It took a journalist, of all things. Trump and the fighting and all of this stuff. Trump, I think, is going to fight tooth and nail to try to keep the deal together, talk about the influence, talk about all of these kind of things that, with this money, what could it do, and how do we need to keep them close. But I'm of the opinion, and they're going to go spend that money, and it sucks. The more you find out about this, that originally I was like, well, we got to see what this is all about. But, I wouldn't want to give that up. They're going to spend the money with Russia. They're going to go spend that money with China. But the more you find out about this and what it entails, the more you're like, you know what? If they are a part of this, can't have it.
I just hope for Khashoggi's sake, for his fiancee, for his family, that that's not what happened. But I'm telling you, if it is, then there's going to be a complete and total revolt on Capitol Hill on both sides of the aisle about our relationship with the Saudi government. And it's an important relationship, but we cannot allow that to silence us in the face of something like this if that's what's happened.
Senator Marco Rubio, thanks for calling.
Yep. Fantastic stuff from Marco Rubio right there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's weird. And this whole thing, again, it's a very weird situation. He's going in. Apparently, he's going to get a marriage license or something like that. And he walks in on October 2nd to obtain a document he needed to get married. His fiancée was outside, and he's never left. She reported him missing when the consulate closes. The Saudi government said he left the consulate via the back entrance. The Turkish government said he was still inside, and his fiancée and friends said, nope, still missing. And since then, it is 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Let's change paces for a second. Phil, this is maybe your dream, but maybe not the way it ends.
Airline employees are given a perk. They're allowed to fly for free or heavily discounted fares on airlines around the globe. 25-year-old Alfonso Lloyd does not work for an airline, but prosecutors say he got that perk. He's accused, along with two buddies, of making fake Mesa Airlines ID badges and using them to get free travel for over a year on Spirit Airlines. Now Lloyd and his friends are dealing with federal charges here in L.A. If he's convicted, Lloyd could get 37 years in prison.
Oh, that's a lot of run for having fun on Spirit Airline. And if you've ever ridden on Spirit Airline, and it's more of a ride than it is a flight.
I don't know. I didn't have a bad time on Spirit.
You know what? Okay, I didn't. It got me to where look, in the end, I judge you by, did we get to where we were going alive? That's my biggest judgment. But the seats that I sat on, and it's a budget airline, the seats that I sat on, they were akin to a lawn chair with like some duct tape on the ground. Kind of what they were. It was a little bit more. It wasn't as comfortable as riding in a roller coaster chair. That's how it was, like that plastic seat you sit on when you're a kid in school. But it was. But I just love the fact that this guy, the cojones to totally go Catch Me When You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio, and that guy in this modern day, and to get away for it for as long as he did. That's some cojones there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. We're going to talk a little movies coming up. I love movies. AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens. So you're out there and you're saying to yourself, you know what? I lean right? My belief system is middle right, not middle left. ARP doesn't represent me, and they go out there and they do all this stuff, and I don't have anybody to be my voice. Well, you do now. That's the Association for Mature American Citizens, AMAC. They're incredible. If you're over the age of 50, I've partnered with them. They're the alternative perspective. What they're looking to do is to solve problems like Social Security reform, protecting our borders with common sense immigration laws, and fixing Medicare in a way that is more in line with the way that you believe. But besides that, they're more than a political advocacy organization. They're an organization that has benefits that are so amazing. Retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, plenty. Travel discounts. You got up to 40% off, like Disneyland, SeaWorld, Legoland, all these kind of things. On top of that, the movie tickets, 40% off movie tickets. I love that. So many incredible things. And here's the thing. Because you're part of the Chad Benson Show, you can join today for free. It's not going to cost you a penny. Nothing. They don't even want your credit card. Go to amac.us/Chad. You're going to receive your first year free. amac.us/Chad. No cost, no tricks, no credit card required. Just go there, sign up. amac.us/Chad or call 888-355-1668. That's 888-355-1668. It's a year membership, absolutely free, doesn't cost you a dime. amac.us/Chad. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Like us in the old Facebook. Oh, and by the way, not only the old Facebook, but check out the tubes of you. That's right, the YouTube. We got Chad Benson Show TV. Go like us there, subscribe to us, and follow along. We try to do unique videos each and every single day there. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
So this weekend, 3 movies opening up. How will they do? Is there a scandal in one of the movies? People are trying to make it to be a scandal. I don't know if it's a scandal, and that is First Man. It's a Ryan Gosling movie with Neil Armstrong, and the scandal is he doesn't plant the flag, and because he doesn't plant the flag, people are saying it's un-American. His kids have come out and said they should have shown that part. That was a vital, important part. That was part of what we do. Our whole thing was we were going to beat the Russians to space. Part of a good portion of it was this is what America was about. The fight to essentially go to space, go to the moon, be the first. It was huge. And I guess, I can understand a little bit, but it's still not going to win the weekend. I think Venom's going to win the weekend again. The other movie coming out this weekend is Bad Times at the El Royale, which looks interesting. It does, but it also looks like it's like a noir film, but a little bit more modern with like a Pulp Fiction twist, and at the same time, like things to do in Denver while you're dead. So there's lots of stories that are all put in together and intertwined, so that could be interesting. But the movie I will most likely see, whether it be this weekend or next weekend, probably with Jack, Goosebumps.
I don't think this place is giving out candy.
Hello, old friends. Karumari, Odanaloma, Malanu, Karano.
They're moving.
So tiny and cute, what can they possibly do? Sonny, they're just gummy bears.
So it's R.L. Stine Books, which is he does all the Goosebumps books. This is the second one. Jack Black was in the first one. I think he makes an appearance in this one. But essentially, the books are closed, and when they're closed, whatever he writes, the monsters, they stay in there. They get opened, and they get out, and they cause hell and havoc on Halloween, which is a kids' movie. But everybody's kind of just get out of the way. Everybody out of the way, because next weekend it's Halloween. I am so excited for that. No, it's not the Halloween, but it's Halloween the movie. And the ratings as far as like what's coming in on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and Metacritic critic and stuff is huge. And I will be the first in line. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. Barring anything crazy, I may take next Friday off. That's how excited, because I'm going to go see it Thursday and Friday. That's how excited I am to see this. You're so weird, Chad. You're so... What is wrong with you? A lot, all right? A lot is wrong with me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. I posted something earlier, and it's about political correctness. And there's a study out that is very interesting about, it's called Hidden Tribes Report, and a study of America's polarized landscape. And I just got to tell you, 80% of Americans, right, regardless of party affiliation or whatever, are exhausted, majority of the time. People are just sick and tired of the fighting and the political correctness. And so I posted something on Twitter, and I get somebody who tweets at me, and the thing they say is, because I'm like, I count me in as one of those people of part of the 80%. And they text me and they say, or they tweet at me and they say, so what, you just want to walk around using the N-word all the time? And I'm like, how do we go from A to Z? So being respectful and kind just goes out the window. It's either you're going to have to be the most politically correct thing in the world, or you're going to drop N-bombs all day. There's nothing in between. That is the problem. When you look at the study, it's what it shows. It shows that there's about 10% on either side that is just, and the rest of us are like, we're over it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Follow us along on the Instagram as well, at Chad Benson Show, and Chad Benson Show TV on the old YouTubes. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
We hope to have 100% of the initial search and rescue operation done in Florida, today as well as Georgia. When you look at this, the damage in Mexico Beach, that is where the ocean rose potentially 14 feet with wave action on top and just shoved buildings out of the way. Bottom line, it was one of the most powerful storms that the country's seen since 1851.
Absolutely. It was a powerful storm, and you've seen what it's done to Panama Beach, Mexico Beach. There is nothing left. I mean, the destruction it's otherworldly. It really is. Trump's going to be out there sometime next week, and it is now just looking and finding out how many people that they don't know died. Right now, I think they're up to, the reports vary between 14 and 16 people that have lost their lives. It is a nightmare. It really is, and they're going to be digging out of this for a very, very, very long time. Some people will never live there again. Their homes are completely gone, and they've got nothing to come back to. And I have a feeling people are going to make that decision that, you know what? Yeah, I don't think this is where we're going to be living.
Here in Panama City, it just seems like it's block after block that's been destroyed. Nearly every home you look at has some type of destruction, whether it's a massive tree that's fallen right on top of it or the roof that's been blown off. Not one person here that hasn't been affected by the storm.
Yeah, it is just, it is ferocious. And it was, what do you say? People, they knew it was coming. Did they know it was going to be that big? I don't think they knew it was going to be that big. But the damage, as we all know, is real. We've seen it. You knew there was going to be some damage. And when you started to see the size of this thing, it was just a beast. And there are going to be people in the Panhandle area that will not have power and a home for quite a while. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The other thing we're following today is this bizarre mystery of what took place with this missing journalist and what is going on with him. A person who, Mr. Khashoggi, was somebody who's arguably one of the most influential and powerful voices in the Middle East, who has just disappeared. And it's so gross to even say. He goes into the consulate in Turkey Right, so here he is. He's with his fiancée. He needs a piece of paper so he can go and get married. So he goes in the consulate with the turkey. His fiancée waits outside. He never comes back out. The Saudi government says he went out the back. The Turkish, they have surveillance cameras everywhere. Like, that's not true. He didn't go anywhere. And what they're saying is up to 15 hitmen or people showed up. They interrogated him, and bone saws may have been used. They may have taking him out piece by piece. Think about that for a second. So how would you get him out? You go in and everybody takes a piece of him out. Ooh. Very influential. Why, though? That's the big question, is why, and what does this do potentially for the relationship with Saudi Arabia? And on top of the relationship with Saudi Arabia, what does this do with the relationship when it comes to, several other Western countries? Because everybody looks at this right here as a complete no. I mean, the world is chiming in right now, and we've got $100+ billion deal with them, and the potential for this thing to be done and dusted, and for Saudi Arabia to be out somewhat in the cold is absolutely huge.
Uber and Viacom, billionaire entrepreneurs Richard Branson and Steve Case, as well as CNN and Bloomberg, all withdrawing from a major Saudi investment conference later this month. But Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says he's still planning to attend, barring any new information. National Security Advisor John Bolton says the U.S. does not have any details on Khashoggi's case that it isn't revealing, and said the administration is demanding answers at the highest levels.
Yeah. So you're starting to see that right now. People are pulling out. People are worried. They're looking what happened. And to think that this may bring our divided politicians together because they're looking at this in a way, the influence that this guy had is huge. And when you look at Saudi Arabia, when you look at the Middle East itself, Saudi Arabia is an important part of what is going on over there. Because everybody's goal over there, for all intents and purposes, is to keep Iran in check. And Saudi Arabia is a massive part of that. It's just not Israel. In fact, the only thing that somewhat has brought Israel and Saudi Arabia together is the disdain for Iran and the fear that everybody has. And for us, that was a big helper. You've got a younger, more progressive monarchy that has taken over. And he's already done some stuff that is inflamed and enraged several of the older, more militant side of his family. On top of that, you've got these hardline religious figures that want no part of what he's trying to do there. Then you've got this. And the question is, why? Why did this happen? What exactly took place? And like I said, somebody asked earlier, why aren't people talking about this in a way? Because there's a lot of stuff that I have a feeling, and this is just me, I have a feeling, because what they're saying is he had an Apple Watch. Some of the Apple Watch transmitted some of the stuff that went on. And because of that, we know a lot more than we are leading on to know. And that is, because like I said earlier, the thought of a bone saw, because they're wondering, because their whole thing is he's not inside the consulate anymore. He's not here. We don't got him. He's not here. He's not here. But these men came and went. And if you were going to dispose of a body like that, and you were able to do something like that, and everybody got a piece of him, think about that for a second.
Jamal Khashoggi, a writer who has been critical of Saudi leaders, walked into the consulate in Turkey last week to get some documents for his upcoming marriage and then vanished. Khashoggi lived in the U.S. and wrote a column for the Washington Post, which now reports there is proof Khashoggi was killed inside the consulate. President Trump's warm relationship with the Saudi royal family now in the spotlight as pressure builds for the U.S. to act.
What will he do? President Trump has said he's going to call the king and talk to him. What is that going to do? Not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what that does at all, if anything.
Nobody knows quite yet. Nobody's been able to put it all together. People are starting to form ideas, and as they're formed, we'll let you know. But it certainly is a terrible thing.
Yeah. Like you say the word bone saw, you're like, oh. Crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. People still tweeting in about Kanye and what I said earlier. The insanity of the left calling him insane is the thing that makes me laugh. I was talking to another friend of mine who's a host of a really big show, not like this dog and pony show here, and he was saying to me, I can't watch Don Lemon without laughing. And Don Lemon going off last night, essentially saying, "Oh, he needs help. He's mentally disturbed, and he's looking for a daddy figure, and all of these things that he was saying, and he was a minstrel act, and all of this stuff." And I just laughed. I absolutely laughed because I thought to myself, how in God's name? So he goes out and has some sort of relationship with Trump, right? So he has a relationship with Trump for whatever reason it is. Now he's nuts when he says stuff like,
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
The left loves him. He hangs out with Trump. He needs a doctor. He needs a doctor. He needs a doctor.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Yay, you're right. I like Donald Trump. You need help. You do. I think you're mentally disturbed. I think you need help. You do. I know. I don't want to. I just, it's the truth. You need help. You've got a lot of problems. You really need help.
Put the hat on, and the hat made me feel strong, and wearing a cape. He needs a father figure. He needs someone to help him and to guide him, and he needs a hug more than anything.
How does anybody take him serious? I don't. Just because it's so ridiculous. He's like, he embarrassed black America. Isn't there just America? I don't think he embarrassed himself. And at what point did everybody lose? When did they lose the ability, A, to think for themselves, but also step back and go, he's a showman. He's just putting on a show. That's it. That's what he's doing. And for some people, they go on there last night and they're all debating it on Don Lemon. For some of them, they're putting on a show as well. It's that Shakespearean things. But there's a lot more people out there that are drinking the Kool-Aid who really feel that way. Ugh. How do you live like that? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Love hearing from you. ZipRecruiter. So here it is Friday, right? So it's Friday, and you're looking around, and you're like, man, it is busy, and I'm going to be here late. I need to hire some employees. I don't know how to get those employees. Well, that's where ZipRecruiter comes in. Check this out. Write this down. ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. Let me tell you what you're going to do. You're going to go there. You're going to sign up. You're going to post your job for free. It's going to go out to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. Then what they're going to look, and they're going to scan it. And they're going to say, okay, you need this experience. This is the skills that you need for this job. And they're going to go out and they're going to find people. And they're going to invite them and say, hey, check this job out. This is the job for you. Those people are then going to apply to that job because of ZipRecruiter. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology is going to go even a step further. And they're going to what? They're going to highlight the best of those. That is why 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first 24 hours. 80%. That could be you. This time on Monday, you could be like, you're hired. What are you waiting for? Highest rated hiring site in America? That is ZipRecruiter. Post your job for free right now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. ZipRecruiter.com/BENSON. ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
While pointless pundits ponder what was, Chad wisely wonders, what's next?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Here in downtown Chicago, players have been contemplating what they do with the more than $500 million.
When the news starts talking about it, that's when I start buying them.
We decided together if we win, we all retire.
Have you already spent the money in your mind?
Of course.
Not being thought about much, the tough odds of hitting it big tonight. One in more than 300 million, which is the reason nobody has won the jackpot since July.
Yeah, that's huge. And what would you do? Because it is, right? It's Christmas. Think about the Christmas you would have for just a second. Think about the Christmas. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you win tonight. So the payout's probably what? $300 million, less taxes. You're walking probably about $1.85. So you got $185 million. Christmas is going to be good. It's going to be good. So you've got that, and then that was the Mega Millions, and Powerball was up to like 300 and something. So you're at like almost $1 billion in the lottery. This is massive. Oh my Lord, massive. Oh goodness, it's going to be great winning those. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with it all. It's going to be a lot of fun though, kids. I'm just going to let you guys know it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to enjoy it. I'm not going to quit, so don't worry about that. I'll be here every day to make sure that we make you smile. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet the show. I love hearing from me. Even if you don't like me, I'm okay, right? Like I will, talk about it. Somebody says, how do you live drinking the Kool-Aid? ? Ask Trump supporters. I now know more about Kanye West than I care to. Just a bunch of noise. As far as TV hosts go, you forgot to mention the Three Stooges at Fox, Hannity, and Carlson and Ingram. Okay, so there you go. Somebody's a huge fan of them. I don't drink the Kool-Aid. I never said he wasn't a bit out there. What artist isn't out there, right? What artist isn't out there? I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. My thing that made me laugh is the reaction to it. When he says he hates, that George Bush hates black people cheer him, but when he goes, yeah, you know what, I like this guy, all of a sudden it's like, no, you're nuts, you're insane. It's the reaction. Of course he's out there. Is he educated on any of the stuff? He may be educated on some. Is he educated on? No. Sometimes he was talking out his ass yesterday, but a lot of it was the show. Like, he puts on a show. That's what he does. Everywhere he goes. I was talking to somebody today here in the newsroom, and they were talking about it, and I said, it's everything he does. Think about this. And his wife is the perfect example. All of them. Their entire life is manufactured. He may be the most authentic of them all in a lot of ways. Just like Beyonce and a lot of these people, their life is completely manufactured. You just think those pictures they take are selfies. You don't think they take 400 of them and then they use all kinds of filters and touch-ups and this, that, and the other just to take a selfie? Everything. Getting out of bed in the morning, I'm sure for Kanye, is manufactured. It has to be. It does, because that's the life that they're putting out to the world. Yeah, I don't drink any of the Kool-Aid. I think they're all... It is what it is. It's your show. I don't even like Kool-Aid. And as Peter Griffin says, I only drink what I like. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Yes, this time last week, we were talking about Kavanaugh. We were talking about You Gotta Believe. We were talking about all of these things. And a woman wrote a great op-ed piece, and she's going to join us straight ahead. Her name is Kelsey Curtinitis. I think we got their name right. Curtinitis, Kelsey Curtinitis. She's going to join us, and she wrote an op-ed piece. She went through the same thing as Blasey Ford did, but she said, look, I can sympathize, I can recognize, I can empathize, but we do live in a country where, yes, due process and facts are mightily important. She's going to join us straight ahead to talk about that and the Me Too movement. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Well, last week at this time, the world was exploding with craziness, and it has continued to be crazy at times, and the debate is still raging. Joining us now is a woman who wrote a piece in the in USA Today, an opinion piece. Kelsey Curtinitis joins us now, and her piece is, "I'm a sexual assault survivor, and I don't want you to just take my word for it," which was crazy because when you look at all of the polls, Kelsey, over the last several weeks, and we see all these things that say just believe, just believe, just believe. And the reality is no, we live in a world with due process, and you're innocent until proven guilty. But I think a lot of people, especially on the left, they didn't get that memo.
That's right. Yeah, I was just really tired of this false narrative I kept seeing on social media. This whole believe survivors or believe women nonsense, because what they're really saying is believe accusers. And I reject this idea that you don't have the right to an opinion on this matter unless you're a survivor yourself. And I just kept seeing that come up on social media again and again. If anyone challenged that, it's, well, you're not a survivor, you don't have the right to speak about it. And so that's why I decided to speak up as both a woman and a survivor and say, no, I am a survivor, and I don't want you to just take my word for it if I accuse someone without any evidence.
What did you think of her testimony? I mean, I think some of it felt like, they brought her in, the glasses, the hair falling down. It looked a little bit, compared to the pictures and other things we see, I felt it was a bit staged. Not that I didn't believe that something happened to her, and I did say that I do believe that. I just don't know if she got the right person. But she felt, some of that felt a little bit staged, like her attorneys and stuff were prepping her for something, and almost like they were window dressing her.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It seemed like she was kind of intentionally disheveled, and I felt like the voice that she was using to talk seemed a little bit manipulated, like she was trying to make it sound like she had been crying or, just emotional. As far as her testimony goes, I felt, I alluded to this a little bit in my article as well, I felt like she identified the real aftermath that a sexual assault survivor goes through. And that was kind of pulling on my heartstrings a little bit, but it's like, no, I still need to take a step back, and, I can't just believe her based on feelings. I got to see some facts. And I just feel like even after all the testimony and the hearings and every FBI investigation and everything else, there's still just not a shred of evidence to substantiate her allegations. And in fact, they've even been refuted. So.
Oh, evidence is silly, Kelsey. Talking to Kelsey Curtinitis, who's wrote a really interesting and a very, I think, a thought-provoking opinion piece in USA Today. I am a sexual assault survivor, and I don't want you to take my word for it, because you could identify with her and what she was saying, because you too had gone through something similar. Right. Yeah. And like I said, when she was detailing, the aftermath of that whole experience, allegedly, that she was saying, I should just move on and just pretend it didn't happen. And I'm like, well, okay, that took me back. I can remember feeling that way. But you still need to look at the testimonies and the facts objectively. And there just really wasn't anything to back up what she said at the end of the day. Yeah, which is, I know it's crazy because watching, when you watched out there, Kelly, you saw the people out there and they're protesting, doing all this stuff. And it was the just believe, you must believe, as if you weren't going to believe that somehow you were a bad person because, you ended your article with something that I think was very profound. It was John Adams. He said it best: once innocence is condemned, virtue itself is no security. You're looking out there and you're seeing all of these things and you're saying to yourself, you may identify with those people, but the reality is you have to have proof in this day and age, and people don't care about facts anymore. It's feelings that seem to rule the day. That's so true. And some of the backlash I've gotten, which I've gotten quite a lot of backlash, especially from women, ironically enough, from writing this piece. But I was told that it's wrong to even ask a survivor for evidence because that would be victim blaming, since we live in a patriarchal society. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that they believe. It's just madness. How do you, that's the insane thing is you're a woman. You have gone through something similar to her in sexual assault. You're underage drinking, those kind of things. You were assaulted by a man. You've gone through something like this, and the frustration I have is you're not even allowed to ask. So at that point in time, why would we even have trials? We should just send people straight to wherever the judge decides that they should go if we're going to lead with feelings. Right. It's really scary. I mean, it sets a scary precedent, this whole, and, a lot of people responded to my article saying, well, it wasn't a trial. It was just an interview. Well, to me, that's even scarier because he didn't have a trial, or he didn't have a defense.
And it's like all of our society is just already talking like he's guilty. I mean, I've already heard people in the media saying, he's the attacker. They're describing him this way. And it's madness that we're just taking a woman's allegations that are completely unsubstantiated and treating them as fact. It's terrifying.
When other women, go and email you, because I'm sure that the problem is there's a lot of women out there that feel like you do, but we're in this world where people are afraid to say anything, Kelsey, because they know the backlash that's going to come is going to be tremendous, especially people in power who are afraid of the social justice warriors and the mob that comes after them if they say anything. When women, read your article, I'm sure you got several, as much as you got complaints, I'm sure there were women like, look, I wouldn't say it out loud, but I agree completely with you. We need evidence.
Yes, I did. I received several direct messages through social media from women and even some men who said they were survivors and that they agree with me and that they thanked me for saying what I did say because they felt afraid to, which that's just ridiculous that you would feel afraid to, be factual. But, they said that they agree that this has exposed the hypocrisy of the left. It's shown that they don't really care about women or survivors. They just want to use survivors who agree with their bias as political pawns to further their agenda, and I think it's disgusting.
Talking to Kelsey Curtinitis, and her op-ed piece is great. We're going to put it up on our Facebook page. I am a sexual assault survivor, and I don't want you to just take my word for it. When it happened to you, you talk about the regrets you have of not saying anything back in the day, and you could empathize with her and why she didn't say the thing. She didn't want to get in trouble. She was underage drinking. All of these things, that guilt of as if she did something wrong. Yes, she did something wrong to put herself in that place because she shouldn't have been underage drinking. And at the same time, that there was that kind of issue you had. How did you deal with it?
At the time, I kind of used her rationalization, the same one that she said she went through. It's like I just should pretend it didn't happen. I don't think anyone's going to believe me, because I was drinking and all that. And the couple people that I did tell at the time just kind of encouraged me not to tell. And I think, looking back, I think that was because I told my friends and, they didn't want this man to stop buying alcohol for their parties. So I think that's another reason I was discouraged from coming forward. And that is a regret that I have, but like my article says, I'm thankful that I can't still today go into a courtroom and accuse a man of doing what he did 14 years ago and have him, ruin his reputation or face any legal consequence based on just my word alone. I don't think that anybody wants to live in a society like that where we can just destroy each other's lives with accusations.
What did you think of the way that he came out? I mean, I was disappointed that he went with the Clinton thing and a bit of the revenge and stuff. But at the same time, I wasn't upset with the fact that he was angry because I think if any man, people say, well, it was a job interview. Well, I'm like, when's the last time you went to a job interview and the people across the table who were interviewing go, hey, by the way, are you a serial rapist?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I think it's nonsense. It's people, they're kind of they're deflecting to his mannerisms and how he acted because they don't really have anything else to accuse him of it or to run with on this since he's been disproven. But yeah, exactly. If anyone had been accused of the things that he'd been accused of, anybody would be mad. And I think it would be more odd if he were not mad. I mean, this man has been just put through the ringer and his whole poor family. I mean, this whole thing is ridiculous. And like he said, at the end of the day, after all this, he's probably not even going to be able to coach again or teach again these things that he loves to do, all because some woman just said something. I mean, it's just so crazy. I can't believe the reality that we're living in.
What do you think we should go from here? I mean, and this is something, because, I mean, you've been through stuff. A lot of people have been through stuff. And I've always said, look, some people in life go through horrific things and it's like, it's like water off a duck's back. And some people go through stuff that seems trivial or minor or it's a big deal, but it stays with them forever. And I think this is, one of those things, like if you're talking to people out there who've gone through stuff, what's the advice you can give them? Because I think, judging by what I've read and talking to you, I think you've coped with it rather well, where I think other people haven't.
Yeah, it is hard, and I think a lot of change can come about just by having those conversations. I know a lot of the messages I've gotten so far from other survivors or just people who message me to argue. It's like you just have to remind them to look at things objectively. I'm so sorry for what happened to you, and you didn't deserve it. But that doesn't mean that Kavanaugh is your attacker or is equal to your attacker. Like you have to look at each, as a case by case basis, and it does matter when you're accusing someone of something that, maybe you might have a right to be believed, in a room with your therapist or among your circle of family and friends, but you don't have a right to be believed in a court of law, or, when you're making this public accusation the way that Dr. Ford did. You don't have the right to just be blindly believed. You have to have some proof. And I know that might sound harsh, but that's reality. That's just realistic.
One of the things you said there,
it's the evidence that protects us,
is something I talked about, which is I think a lot of women out there who didn't say something looked at Kavanaugh and said, essentially, they superimpose them in their life as he's the attacker, and this is my way of getting even at the person who did something to me, and he's the one that we're going to make as the giant rapist of all these people who didn't have a chance to get back at their attacker.
Right, absolutely. I really do think there was a lot of that going on. He was just kind of the man to blame, through that, because maybe they didn't come forward and their attacker got away, innocent and got away free. So let's make this man pay for it for what this woman says he did to her. Absolutely. I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah, very, very interesting. A great article. I appreciate you coming on today. It's called I'm a Sexual Assault Survivor, and I don't want you to just take my word for it. Kelsey Curtinitis, thank you so very much, and maybe we'll talk again about something more pleasant in the future.
That would be great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Very interesting. And like I've said, and one of the things that I've continued to say and talked about is I think a lot of people looked at Kavanaugh as I couldn't get my attacker, I couldn't get the person, and I didn't say the things. Now is the chance for us to essentially get him. And that's what they did. That's what they did. For some people politically, it was just stopping him. But for a lot of people out there, it was a personal thing. And he was the one that their anger was at, even though it was other people who did something to him. They didn't get them. Kavanaugh was the one they wanted. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's Donut Friday. Gotta love that. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what? Producer Phil, I want you to take a deep breath when you listen to this.
It's iconic California. In-N-Out Burger. Oh, that tasty burger, animal style, the secret menu. Well, now Lindsay Snyder, the chain's president and granddaughter of the founders, telling Forbes In-N-Out will not branch out to the East Coast in her lifetime. She says she wants it to remain unique to the West Coast. The chain has expanded to a number of western states as far east as Texas, but those who have begged for In-N-Out in the Midwest and East won't be getting it.
Happy Friday, Phil.
That's all right. Coors once said the same thing.
I don't, you know what though? She is a lot different, and she's an odd bird. I think she's the youngest female billionaire, right? I think she is, or one of them. She's definitely, I think she's only like 38 or something, and she is, but she has been, she's a recluse kind of thing, and she's not, I don't think they're going to be out there. I think they like it. That's what part of the whole thing is. It makes it iconic because it's not there.
Supply and demand.
Supply and demand. Absolutely. Supply and demand. So, medieval, when you think of that, you think of the knights, you think of the fighting, you think of all of those things. People do that. They've got reenactors. They've got all kinds of things that go on across the country, Renaissance fairs. And guess what? They do some stuff, things like jousting, and it can be dangerous.
Friends and fellow members of the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism, are shocked by Peter Barclay's death.
Dead stunned. His abilities and his skill and his attention to detail and safety is just total.
Barclay was attempting a trick where he spears a paper plate on the ground with a lance. The metal tip of the lance hit the ground and flipped and punctured him in the stomach.
Have never had an injury like this on the field like this ever that led to something like this.
Yeah, that's a freak accident. So he's showing off. He's got his night thing going on. He's out there and he's trying to, I guess, pick something up. And it at first when I heard about it, I thought it went into the ground and somehow it went back in and like the end he was holding went back in, but it sounds like it snapped off and went into him. And I was watching a show last year. They had like AMC, one of these had the reality show of these people that joust and do stuff. It is crazy violent. It is. I mean, it may be make believe, if you will. Right. But a lot of these people take it super serious, but it is real when they're out there doing that. And this guy not even doing the jousting, trying to do a trick, paid the ultimate price.
An officer with the Williamstown Police Department was on patrol when he heard this strange dispatch call.
It was just a very unusual occurrence.
Barclay was first taken to Grant County Hospital by ambulance. From there, he was airlifted to another local hospital, but he died mid-flight. Barclay was known by fellow SCA members as Terrapin Gray Dragon. The retired colonel served 30 years in the military.
It is real to them, Phil. Phil whispers in my ear. It's real to them. You've known some of them, haven't you, Phil?
I may have, yes.
Yes, I knew of one as well. She was great, but she, like Rabaskova, they give themselves these names, and they get into it, man. It is really, they go deep is probably the best way. Like, they're getting deep into it is what I'm trying to say is, for some of them, they believe it's the 800s or 900s, and some of the stuff they have like ninjas and they had samurais and they have all kind of Vikings. It was very much a method acting, if you will. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. I love hearing from you. I'm going to sleep well tonight. My Pillow. Yeah, I'm going to sleep really, really good tonight. I love My Pillow. It's amazing. It is something that I highly recommend. And when you look at the studies they're doing on sleep, more and more of these studies are saying the better sleep that you get, the better it is for your health. Your blood pressure reduces, heart disease and stroke. Why? Because usually it means that you're probably in decent shape, because of the fact is, when you don't get enough sleep, your body's looking for energy. Energy turns into what? You searching for food, trying to rev up the engine. And that's where My Pillow comes in. A little small thing like getting a great night's sleep because of something like My Pillow will go a long way in your life. And here's what they're doing. BOGO, buy one, get one free. It's amazing. 100% machine washable and dryable, made in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. Call 800-944-4975 or visit mypillow.com. When you do, use promo code Benson, right? Get one for free. You buy one, you get one free. World's most comfortable pillow. 800-944-4975 or visit mypillow.com. Mypillow.com. Use promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show TV is the YouTube. You can tweet at us. You can follow us on the Instagram. Wherever there's stuff going on, we're going to be there. Follow along, kids. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It was a bizarre scene in the Oval Office. President Trump sitting at the Resolute desk. Seated across from him, rap artist Kanye West, wearing a red Make America Great Again hat.
It was something about when I put this hat on, it made me feel like Superman. You made a Superman. That's my favorite superhero. Stop and frisk does not help the relationship.
We can do it a different way, Kanye. I'm totally open.
We have to release the love. The liberal will try to control a black person through the concept of racism. I love this guy right here. If he don't look good, we don't look good. He might not have expected to have a crazy mother like Kanye West.
Tell you what, that was pretty impressive.
I love this guy right here.
That's really nice. That's really nice. And that's from the heart. I didn't want to put you in that position, but that's from the heart. Special guy.
Wow. So that was yesterday, right? That was insanity. It was surreal. It was crazy. I think Kanye, what's being Kanye, right? Like, he's just being himself, right? He doesn't know anything. It was so funny when I talked to so many people yesterday about it, because this was a big thing. I mean, here's Kanye West, right, with Jim Brown, the ex-great former football player, who's in the, sitting in there, and he's holding court. Kanye is holding court. And he's just doing all kinds of things, and he's got his phone, and he's hugging the president, and there's just throngs of reporters, and it was just insane. Yet at the same time, as I said, look, maybe he's out there a bit. Yeah, that is what it is. I mean, he is out there. I think we all know that. I mean, name an artist that really isn't out there. Right? Name an artist that's really like an artist like him, who so many of them are. I've hung out with enough famous people. And producer Phil, I think you'll back me up on this. You've hung out with enough people. You've met enough people where you think to yourself, sweet Jiminy Cricket, what world do you live in?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, not crazy. They're all a bit crazy. But it was funny because the left views him now as crazy. When Katrina happened, and we all go back to that moment where he's on stage with poor Mike Myers, right? And he's giving out some award or something, and Kanye just like, George W. Bush hates black people. And the left was just, yes! He comes out and he says, essentially, I like Trump. I get along with Trump. And they have these moments, and it's bizarre at times, but it's very real. And the craziness of the way that the left treats him now is the fact that they believe he's nuts.
I have no animosity for Kanye West. I actually feel bad for him. What I saw was a minstrel show today. Him in front of all of these white people, mostly white people, embarrassing himself and embarrassing Americans, but mostly African Americans.
Why? Why? Because he doesn't think like you? Because he's not part of this, hey, I've got to be on the left side of the aisle because that's the color of my skin and that's what it dictates? But no, he didn't stop there. It wasn't just a minstrel show. Oh, no.
I don't mean this in a disparaging way. Exploiting someone who needs help, who needs to back away from the cameras, who needs to get off stage, who needs to deal with his issues. And if anyone around him...
I'm going to back it up again. He needs to deal with his issues. So he's mentally disturbed because he's black. He doesn't think like you, Don Lemon. He's mentally insane. Is that what you're saying? Because he thinks that Trump is okay, because he is loud and outspoken. Hey, anybody think that, I don't know, the Beatles and some of the crazy stuff they did, right? Anybody think they were insane? Jim Morrison? Well, yeah, they were a bit. No, they're artists. They're a bit out there. But just because he may be a bit, eccentric and aloof, and I think he does have some issues that I think a lot of people do, they have to deal with, doesn't mean the things that he was saying was wrong. But the way that they've gone about it now to discredit him, and this is the thing the left likes to do. Both sides do it, but the left loves to. You're mentally insane. If I don't like you and I can't compete with you in maybe having a dialogue or a conversation, whether there's facts and data involved or something else, I'm going to discredit you by calling you a phobic, a denier, or better yet, you're insane.
Off stage, who needs to deal with his issues. And if anyone around him cares about him, the family that he mentioned today, or whomever, his managers, maybe some other people who are in the music business who know him, they need to grab him and snatch him up and get Kanye together, because Kanye needs help.
No, he doesn't need help. He doesn't. He doesn't need help any more than anybody else. I don't think Kanye is crazy in the sense where he needs to go to a hospital, right? Do I think he thinks some stuff that's insane and wacky? Absolutely, right? I do. But here's something. Elon Musk, a couple weeks ago, right, he's on with Joe Rogan, and he's saying crazy stuff, and he's having fun, and he's smoking weed, and he's doing all this stuff, and people are like, the investors are worried about him and his behavior, and that's a bit erratic and stuff, because you don't see CEOs do those kind of things, and some people are like, we're worried about him because he works 22 hours a day, and he'll sleep under people's desk, and he's working hard. But you know what they never said? Well, he's insane, and he needs to go to a mental hospital. But Kanye is. Why? Because there's politics involved. And the politics of the left is you gotta hate Trump. Period. Case closed. And if your skin is black, Oh, and you don't back the left? Oh, my God, sweet Mama Jamma, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. And part of this is Trump's fault.
Every one of them is sitting either at home or with their phones watching this, cringing. I couldn't even watch it. I had to turn the television off because it was so hard to watch. Him sitting there being used by the President of the United States, the President of the United States exploiting him.
So Trump's exploiting him because he's mental, and he's using him, and Kanye's crazy. That's the left. That's the way they're going to do this, right? That's it. And I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm talking about the left, the out of touch with reality left side of the aisle. That's the only thing they have. That is absolutely the thing they have. He's nuts. He's crazy. He's a lunatic. He's all of these things. That's exactly what he has. Look, do I think Kanye's up on things and he's super educated on stuff? I don't know Kanye well enough, though. I don't know if he's well read. I doubt he is well read. Just because Kanye's doing 1,000 million things, and plus he's living with the Kardashians, and cut him some slack for the love of God. Please. He's a Kardashian. Look what they did with the last person. Somebody's so going to send me hate mail for that one.
We need to take the cameras away from Kanye and from a lot of this craziness that happens in the White House, because it is not normal, and we need to stop sitting here pretending that it's normal. This was an embarrassment. Kanye's mother is rolling over in her grave.
Is she? Is she really rolling over in her grave? Is she really, really rolling over? Is she? I'm just curious. Is that what's happening? I don't think so. But this is what happens. He's mental. It's the only thing. The only people that like Trump are white racists and people of color who happen to be insane. That's it. No sane person would like Trump. No sane African American. No sane person of color. No sane woman would like. No. Only people that can like Trump are white racists and self-loathing African Americans and people of color and women who hate themselves. That's it.
Put the hat on, and the hat made me feel strong, and wearing a cape. He needs a father figure. He needs someone to help him and to guide him, and he needs a hug more than anything. Kanye, back away from the cameras, go get some help, and then come back and make your case. Nobody, if you want to be conservative, if you want to support Donald Trump, that is your business. But as you're doing it, have some sense with it. Make sense. Educate yourself.
Yeah. You just step back and you say to yourself, that is just a bunch of absolute crap. And the thing that made me laugh so much about this, right? The thing that makes me laugh so much about this when you watch this is, if this was Obama and Kanye was there, people would be laughing their asses off, right? Like they go, oh, Kanye's been out there, but still. But because it's Trump, he's exploiting him. He's mentally ill. President Barack Obama did all kinds of things and talked to all kinds. He did an interview with a woman who does a YouTube show, if I'm correct, from a bathtub that is full of milk and cereal. If I'm correct, I think he did. Really? And we're celebrating. He's not mentally ill. And the fact that you would say that he needs a father figure, for the love of God, that is insane. It really, really is. Laura Ingraham fired back last night, and it was interesting. And she should have. Look, I don't know what people are scared of. People are saying, well, what about the right with Taylor Swift? I don't think the right really cares, right? I don't think anybody. I mean, Marsha Blackburn's probably going to win that thing. The person she supports is not going to win. And everybody's like, well, Chad, you said stuff about Taylor Swift. I said, no. Once again, things I say, things you hear. I said, if you need Taylor Swift to get you to vote, that's the issue I have. I don't care about who it was, right? If that's what you need to get you out there to vote, like, I'm not going to vote, and then I'll have Taylor Swift tell me to vote, so I'm going to vote. This is totally different. This was, well, he's lost now. He's an idiot. He's insane.
Just because he dares to think for himself, think differently, in his outspoken, over-the-top manner, he's pilloried by the politically correct performers in politics, in journalism, and, of course, in the entertainment industry. He represents a danger to the left because of his huge cultural influence. And moments like this are absolutely intolerable and frightening to liberals.
Yeah, that's Laura Ingraham. I don't always agree with a lot of what she had to say, but I got to be honest with you. It's the way it was the reaction. Do I think it's over the top? Of course it is. Kanye's over the top, for God's sakes. He's married to a Kardashian. Waking up in the morning is a production. Right? Let's be real. In saying that, the way that they attack him is, you're nuts. You're crazy. You're a lunatic. You're a minstrel. You're being used. You need help, and you have a daddy issue that you have to sort out. That right there was the absolute most asinine thing I've heard people say. And Don Lemon, well, you're in the clubhouse as the leader of the asinine things of the day. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love to hear from you. Lots of stuff we're going to get to today. So let's talk about your day. You wake up and you say to self, I need to do something good. It's that time of the year, right? Fall's here. It's a little cool outside. I got a great person that I love or family member I haven't said thank you to. What do? 1-800-Flowers.com. That's what you do. They're incredible. And this is what they're doing for you right now. So, of course, there's anniversaries this time of year. People are going to, they got dances. They got all kinds of things. Christmas, Thanksgiving, all this stuff's right around the corner. You start thinking to yourself, what's some of these things I can do? Well, jump on it early, right? Maybe you made a mistake, right? Maybe you goofed up. Maybe you forgot something. 1-800-Flowers has your back. Right now, when you order, you get a dozen red or multicolored roses for only $29.99. $29.99. But here's the other thing. They're going to throw in another dozen plus a free vase for the same price. Boom. That's 2 dozen. That's 24. Your choice of red or multicolored roses. It is incredible. When I've got things I've got to take care of, 1-800-Flowers.com is my go-to. What are you waiting for? To order a dozen red or multicolored roses plus an extra bouquet and a vase for $29.99. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com. When you do, click on the radio icon. Whoop, right there. Put in my code Benson, BENSON. That's how you get the deal. That's 1-800-Flowers.com. Code Benson's how you get the deal. 1-800-Flowers.com. $29.99 for 2 dozen. That's where you're going to get 1 dozen and another dozen. Red or multicolored roses. 1-800-Flowers.com. Code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. CHADBENSON. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
U.S. Postal Service has filed notice with the Postal Regulatory Commission requesting the price of a Forever stamp be bumped a nickel from 50 cents to 55 cents, the largest increase since the early 90s. The agency is also proposing a nearly 4% increase in Priority Express shipping prices and a nearly 6% increase in Priority Mail. The price changes would go into effect in late January. The Postal Regulatory Commission must give final approval. The post office posted a net loss of nearly $3 billion last year.
Why do we have the post office? I'm just curious. I mean, what other business lose that kind of money year in and year out? But it's government. I mean, think about this for a second. How much does it cost to make a penny? Almost 2 cents to make a penny. Yet we continue to make pennies. Why? Why in God's name do we continue to make pennies? Isn't there enough pennies out there? Why do we continue to do stuff like this? This is the stuff that's insane. And now they want to raise the forever stamp. I don't know. I mean, at some point in time, don't we just say, you know what, maybe we should privatize this? We can't do that, Chad. It's part of the government is getting this done. No, I think maybe we privatize this. I do. I think maybe it's time to privatize it. Oh, it's all Amazon's fault. That's what one person says. It's all Amazon's fault. If we raise the rates for Amazon, it's still not going to save it. It's still not going to save it. Because it's a bad business model. It's not going to save it. At some point in time, we just say, yeah, this isn't working the way we thought, but they throw money at it continuously, and that right there is insane. They throw money at this thing continuously. And this is what, you look at government and you go, okay, this is ridiculous. We're going to spend how much? Almost 2 cents to make 1 cent? Where else would anybody do that? Where else would anybody do that? Hey, I'm going to spend $1 to lose $2. What? Yeah. Is that smart? Well, no, you're getting part of it. No, you're losing it. You're spending a penny to make a penny. You're out. You're spending 2 pennies to make a penny. You're out a penny. That is ridiculous. That's where we're at. Same thing with this. It's a non-winning proposition. But government, when you get frustrated like we all do, want to know how are we going to pay for all this stuff? We're going to raise taxes. No, if you want to be smart about paying for a lot of your things, then show me how you can cut a bunch of crap that doesn't work and put programs in that you think will work. But it's not the way it works. It's just, we'll get more money. That's the way we'll do it. So goofy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. People are texting in about Kanye, saying, yeah, he's a bit crazy. I said, look, I have no doubt in my mind that Kanye's out there, but there's a lot of people that are out there, right? Right? But do I think he's clinically crazy and that he needs help? No, I don't think so. I don't. I think Kanye's a showman, too. We forget about that. He likes his show. There's cameras, lights, cameras, Kanye. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at oh, man, wait to hear the story later on about a knight that got impaled. Oh, yeah, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Can we talk about this gigantic white pith helmet sitting in the shot? And it's really not a good thing to see because it represents a lot of stuff for folks, especially folks in Africa.
So I brought this up because there's many different elements to this. Number one, this was her first solo trip, and she said, concentrate on what I say, not what I wear. But the problem is when you're wearing things like this, which is very charged because it's a symbol of British colonialism, I just don't understand the fashion choices.
Oh, my God. So Melania's in Africa, and she's got the pith helmet on. It's that white hat, it's a helmet, but it looks kind of like a hat that you'd see in all those old movies. Hello there, and it's white colonialism. It's all this British stuff, because that's what we do. We have to go to the point where we have to pick things apart. And so now they're looking at her is in some way, shape, or form. They're alluding to that she is racist because of her fashion sense.
And our First Lady's fashion choices are political. It was political when Jackie O decided to wear a French designer instead of an American designer. The clothes that our First Ladies wear are political statements, and I just wish who's ever in charge would maybe think a little more.
Guess what? She needs a team around her. She needs a team around her that helps her understand.
But let's face it, if she had someone like you on her team, you would say, girl, don't wear that hat.
I would have told her
you can't wear that hat.
No, she would have worn that. But that's the hilarity of this. Right. And remember, she's got that interview coming out, and it's so funny because she talked about the fact that people talk about her all the time, and that it's not, it's ridiculous.
I could say I'm the most bullied person on the world.
You think you're the most bullied person in the world?
One of them, if you really see what people are saying about me.
Yeah, here's a bunch of women on The View, right? A bunch of privileged ladies on The View sitting around going, well, what she's wearing is racist. I mean, she might as well have worn a sheet, for God's sake. She might as well have.
This is a group of people that do not like people that know more than them. They don't. They revel in not knowing. They revel in not preparing. They revel in not...
Oh, see, I actually think it's different. I think it's from the Trump playbook of we just don't care.
Because I do think when you're wearing jackets that say, I really don't care, and I'm wearing pit helmets in Africa, like, it sends a distinct message that I don't think should be the message.
Really? Or maybe she just put it on and thought, wow, I look good, and this looks pretty cool, and I'm out here, and this looks like it could be a Ralph Lauren polo shoot, and that there's nothing more to it other than this. But wait, Whoopi's going to take it a step further.
You know what the real true problem here is when you don't do any homework about where you're going. You know, when you think about some of the things that have been said about Africa, because, basically a pith helmet says we own you.
Is that what it says? Is that really what it says? Is that it? It just, it made me laugh because I'm interested to see what she has to say in this because, again, here's the one thing. You say all you want about Trump and everybody. Trump seems to sit down with just about anybody who's willing to put a microphone in his face. A lot of administrations, past one, didn't like to do that. He didn't care. Oh, he may go on Fox a lot, right? Like he may have his own parking spot on Fox and Friends, but he's not afraid to sit down and talk to people. He's not. And he'll do it. And so will she. And she's opened it up. The people are surprised that, as if you've read some of the excerpts from this, but then listen to the people who were there, that there was no like, hey, these are the 5 things you can't ask her. It was like, ask anything.
I know people like to speculate and media like to speculate about our marriage and circulate the gossip. But I understand the gossip sells newspapers, magazines, getting advertisers. And unfortunately, we live in this kind of world today.
Yeah, we do. We do. I just found it to be very fascinating because she just did sit down and she's like, let's have a conversation. And they talk about her marriage. They talk about all kinds of stuff. And I find it, that is about as open as you're going to get. You got the first lady. Remember, her husband, the president of the United States, half the country doesn't like him, right? A lot of the world doesn't like him. He is everywhere he goes, he's a lightning rod for criticism and and that's the reality of it. She's married to him. On top of all of that stuff, you've got the personal stuff, which is Stormy Daniels, a bunch of these other women, the Access Hollywood tape, all of those kind of things. So it's, I don't know what their personal life's like. I don't know what kind of deal they had. I don't know any of those things, but it's tough. And she's a straightforward honest. And I think she said it yesterday. I think she really has. It was one of the few people that has his ear. And that is interesting. It is. It's very interesting. But the fact that she's willing to sit down and talk about stuff like that, good for you. Good for you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So right now, many of you are probably just inundated with how many commercials a day for stuff when it comes to the midterms, right? Are you for this? Are you against this? Are you for this? Are you against this? Are you for this? Are you against this? Are you for this? This person's bad. This person's horrible. This person's worse. This person's even worse. This person's the devil. This person's going to get us all killed. It's all of these things. And for all of the stuff that quote unquote Russia did, right? For all the meddling, the collusion that they're trying to prove, for all of that stuff, you know what's amazing is we have very little check on so much of this stuff that is just as much lies, just as much insanity, if not more so than that other stuff. It is really insane, some of the stuff I've been watching, and just the bold-faced lies in commercials. And we're worried about Russia. Right? We're worried about Russia. We're about the meddling of China. We're worried about all of these things that people are talking about, all of these things. Oh my God. We're worried about all of these things. And in the end, we're worried about these things that really they played such a small part. But it's the stuff that comes out, all these monies that fly into all of these propositions and these candidates, and a lot of it's dark money, and they just bold-faced lie. We're worried about Russian trolls. We got so many trolls here. We can't even clean up our own house. Some of the stuff I have seen, so it's just insane. The Kyrsten Sinema and Martha McSally race in Arizona, there is a postcard that is out right now. And this is a perfect example of insanity. There's a postcard that's out that Martha McSally hasn't had any part of it, but it's one of the dark money, the PAC money that's come in there and spent it. And it is a hologram postcard of Phoenix. And if you just move it one direction or another, it shows Phoenix being nuclear, just denuclearly blast, a mushroom cloud. And this is what's going to happen if you vote for Kyrsten Sinema, who voted to give money to Iran, and there's a good chance that they may nuke us. That's not trolling? That's not trolling? Are you kidding me? It just made me laugh that we're so hyper-focused on Russia, and here's all these outside influences, and we're not looking around about the people down the street who are throwing money into stuff for different reasons, or coming in from other states and throwing money at stuff, trying to do stuff, and they're throwing lies around like it's just no big deal, and very few people say anything. And then you got to go run a commercial to fact check it, and all of a sudden you're just like, it is frustrating. It really is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I love hearing from you. So this, people say, what's the toughest sport in the world? What's the toughest sport in the world? I got to say, if this is a sport, it's pretty damn tough.
Friends and fellow members of the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism, are shocked by Peter Barclay's death.
Dead stunned. His abilities and his skill and his attention to detail and safety is just total.
Barclay was attempting a trick where he spears a paper plate on the ground with a lance. The metal tip of the lance hit the ground and flipped and punctured him in the stomach.
Have never had an injury like this on the field like this ever that led to something like this.
Wow. Is that insane? Is that crazy? Like, that's, when I always hear people, that's the toughest sport in the world. I'm like, look, riding a bull is up there with, super tough. Race car, obviously very dangerous. But, I think A&E had something where they had, a jousting show where, these guys were jousting for real. And it is nuts. And this guy died, and he wasn't even jousting anybody.
An officer with the Williamstown Police Department was on patrol when he heard the strange dispatch call.
It was just a very unusual occurrence.
Barclay was first taken to Grant County Hospital by ambulance. From there, he was airlifted to another local hospital, but he died mid-flight. Barclay was known by fellow SCA members as Terrapin Gray Dragon. The retired colonel served 30 years in the military.
That is just absolute insanity. So, when people say that's a tough sport, that's a tough sport. I don't know what you do with it, and it's interesting, to say the least, and they all have those interesting names, but the fact that happened, could you imagine, have you ever been to medieval times, Phil? Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent time.
It was pretty decent. Could you imagine if you're at medieval times and somebody died? You're just like, wow, how was medieval times? Oh, my God, let me tell you about it. This guy got killed. You're like, what? No, it's for real. That would be insane. But I watched some of these shows on A&E, and they had this, I think it was A&E or one of those Bravo, and it was just, they were real. They think they're knights, and they're out there, and they're doing it for real. And you're like, wow, because that hurts. Right, that's you have a horse. Get on a horse sometime and ride just kind of fast. Now imagine riding really fast and at the same time carrying a giant pole and the opportunity to smash into another human being. Let alone if you hit them, you may be, dehorsed, if you will. It's crazy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Dollar Shave Club, yo. I got all kinds of starter sets. They want you to really test them out. They put them to the test. I have tested every product they have. I love everything they do. I do. I've got no complaints at all. You're going to love it. My face, my neck, shave beautiful. Beautiful. Dr. Carver's shave butter. They've got pre and post shave oil, which is vitally important. For me, I have very sensitive neck. I've got that red hair, very sensitive neck. I love it. I use it. On top of that, their body wash is amazing. Toothpaste and toothbrush. Their toothbrush is so cool. I think it's as cool as the razor. You got to check it out. So you can start with any one of their starter kits. It's $5. After that stuff ships at regular price. But here's the thing. You become a member today. I know you're going to be a member for life. $5 to start. This is what you do. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. 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 $5 free shipping. Check it out for yourself. You won't be disappointed. dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. We're going to wrap it up with some useless info of the day. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
What do you think of the market sell-off today? Are you concerned about that?
No, I think the Fed is making a mistake. They're so tight. I think the Fed has gone crazy. So you could say that, well, that's a lot of safety, actually, and it is a lot of safety. But I think the Fed has gone crazy.
That's Trump right there talking about the Fed, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, my God, this thing's selling off. It's a pullback. Pullbacks happen. That's the reality of it. A lot of stuff is overvalued. Doesn't mean that it's bad. Doesn't mean it's going to crash. But, there's always going to be a natural pullback. And remember, remember when it crashed, right? 29 it crashed. And in the 80s we had that big, the Black Monday. Oh my God. And then we had another one. And there was just, 2008. It's never going to, and all of a sudden we're here. It happens. Things are going to come back and forth. There is a correction.
Actually, it's a correction that we've been waiting for a long time. But I really disagree with what the Fed is doing.
Yeah. Trump's whole thing with the Fed is they're playing around too much, and what happens is when you start raising rates, you're trying to fight inflation, you're doing certain things, money's becoming more expensive, but it's also people are starting to pull money out of investments saying, well, wait a minute here, if these bonds are going to start to go up, prices are going to go up, we may throw some money over here. It's a lot of gamesmanship going on, and it's not a precise science. So I don't think anybody needs to worry about anything. I think everybody just needs to take a deep breath. Breathe. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So we've got male, we have female, we have...
Today, Mayor de Blasio is set to sign a bill that adds a third gender category on birth certificates issued in the city. The new non-binary identity category, known as X, is for those who don't consider their gender to be male or female. A letter from a physician or an affidavit by a licensed healthcare provider will no longer be required. Residents can now submit their own affidavit requesting a change in gender identity.
Can anybody out there, and I'm trying to be a Richard, I know a lot of people, because you can't talk about this stuff without people labeling you something. You're a homophobe. You're this, you're that. And I just laugh. I'm like, whatever. I mean, it is what it is, right? First of all, I'm not a phobe, right? I don't have any phobias of people who are gay or who are, who are Islam, Muslims, people who are trans. I don't have any phobias. But the question is what is gender X? Can we not ask the question? Like, okay, so fine. That's what you are. What does gender X mean? What exactly is a gender X? No, you can't ask that question, Chad. You know that's rude. Is it rude? How did we get here? How do we get to the point where, they've got like 63 different genders and people are pansexual and they're heteroflexible and they're all of the, I don't know how we got to this point. And if you dare ask a question, you're like, oh my God, you're a horrible person. You're some sort of phobic. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm not scared of anything. I don't like ladders. That's it. You want to call me ladder phobic? It's not even that. I'm not good. I go up fine. Sometimes I fall off. That's my issue. But I'm not afraid. That's the craziness of it all, right? It's nuts. I'm like, I don't think you're using that word correctly. No, I am. No, you're not. You're not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. A lot of you are chiming in, talking about all kinds of stuff, including, Kanye. And some of you are like, he's nuts, he's crazy. Look, I get the fact that Kanye's a bit out there, right? I'm not going to dispute that. But how much? How much? How crazy is he? Is he a showman with a smidge of crazy, or does he need to be hospitalized? And that's what people are claiming on the left, that Kanye somehow needs to be hospitalized. I want to know where Kim Kardashian is, because she's A, met with the president, right? And B, that's your husband. Are you not going to come out and say, you know what? Just step back off my husband? Or else, you know what we can do to men. Right? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Here's your useless fact today, kids. All right? Because I'm a ginger. Back in Greek mythology, back in the olden days, they used to say, hey, if you're a ginger, a redhead, When you die and you're buried, that is when you will become a vampire. I knew it. Soulless. We are all soulless. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll be back to it again on Monday night. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.